Hey guys, this is Burton Posey again from Addo Games, and I am going through the pipeline we use for unwrapping models and optimizing them and getting ambient occlusion bakes and basically getting them ready to be textured. And I just want to start off this one by showing you guys the sort of concept. We usually model these guys. We concept them, we model them roughly, and then we start doing paint overs in Photoshop, just really rough 2D paint overs of these forms to see what maybe we want to do with the color and the the forms that we're going to paint on there to make these guys interesting. We're trying to keep a vinyl toy look, so that's one of the chief reasons why these are so simple in form, pretty low counts, which is good for our game because we want to have as many of these guys on the screen as possible sometimes. So it's really important that we keep a good budget of our vertices and we keep that in check. Otherwise, we're going to end up with terrible performance on some of the lower end devices. So I'll just jump over here in Photoshop. This is one of the concepts that I did, and this is the one that we're going to go with. I think we're going to change this color here, and there'll probably be some differences. But anyway, this is just a really rough paint over I did. I tried to do it as rough as possible. We have some details that we've been using, and we wanted to stick with those. One of the things I like to do is I like to um, have these disruptive form, these curves that go through and sort of defy, painting in the lines. Like it'd be really easy to color the sky all one color and color the ears all one color. And so we try to do a few things that give it some personality. I think these flowing lines that go through this form break it up and give it some personality, and it sort of makes this guy look, makes him look like a masked character. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to show you guys where we're going. This also kind of affirms what I was talking about when I lowered this in the first part, that it was lower. Looks like this edge here is a little lower too. So I'm going to go ahead and move that on top of this. I may require this to come up. Looks like this might have changed a little bit. Oh, you know what? I'm going to leave that exactly like it was, and I'm going to push this face back, I think is what I need to do. I'll seat that back a little bit in this form. I'm going to go ahead and push that back as well. And now that gives me a little room to drop this front edge for this guy, the mohawk. I'm going to bring this a little more forward so it's got a little bit of a... There we go. I think I like that. We'll see what the other guys say. Okay, so in this part we're going to go ahead and we'll recombine all this geometry. We've got several different parts now. So first thing I'm going to do is just delete all the history, select all these guys, combine them. Go ahead and delete all those transform things. And let's see, is there anything else I'm missing? I think one thing I'm going to do is just pull this up. We just don't need, we need these shapes to be as close to the form of the robot as possible to not, we don't want to waste any space in the UVs. So let's keep that nice and low. This actually can come all the way up here before anybody would see anything. So like that. Every little bit helps. We want to maximize how much space we can get in our UVs. So I like it all. I think it looks pretty good. There's not going to be any holes in it where anybody could see through, especially since we closed up this part right here. So now I'm going to open up a split view. It's going to be perspective on the left and maybe I am perspective on the left and the UV texture editor, which you can get to otherwise by hitting holding down your space bar and going to window and down here under Paint Effects. So we can see one of our artists had actually taken a pass at this, and I am kind of redoing this stuff. So we'll just start with a clean slate. We will go ahead and do an automatic map just to have it sort of organized, but there's nothing that's going to suggest where I'm going with this. I would like to start with a clean slate. So some of these we definitely want to, that makes perfect sense to me that shell is as it is. As I finish these, I'm going to move them out to the side just so they're not going to confuse me with what's left. I can also come in here and quickly select a face and figure out where, if I want to work on that particular piece, where that is. Let's see if the bottom UVs shell. Oh, I don't like how that split. So some of these are somewhere else. I'm going to do a planar projection for these. I'll just do planar projection, bounding box, and I just shoot on the y-axis. I think that's going to be upside down. So I will go ahead and flip it. Just go ahead and it's going to be huge. When we run the layout UVs command in here, this will unitize all these so that they are all scaled according to the actual size in 3D space. Just saved it again. Again, really good idea to always save. I was running through what I was going to do in this tutorial the other night and ended up with a ton of crashes. This form looks a little, I guess it's just how it buries into this guy, but definitely this vert down here looks like it's drooping a bit. There we go. I don't normally do development on this project. I mean, this project was sort of my idea a couple years ago, and I've been working on it, and I've had different guys that have helped me along the way, and we've always had the same lead artist, and it just definitely helps to have a good eye for form, and I still don't like this right here. I'm going to move this down just like the other piece. That looks great. Good eye for form and balance of these guys. In a small project, small indie team, you need to help out however you can. Anyway, moving along, I'm going to go ahead and let's just call this the face. I think that's good. I'm going to do a planar Z map of that. You know what, I'm not going to do it that way because it's going to just fit it in the 0 to 1 space over here. We want it to be proportional to what it looks like. Did I select some other edges there? That looks strange. Oh, it's the Y. Automatic. That's not right. Sorry. Planar map, Z-axis. There we go. There we go. And now you notice it didn't fill. It didn't fill the whole 0 to 1 space, which would give you a skewed model. Go ahead and shoot that one from the X. I think I'm just going to leave that window up. It's going to be in my way a little bit, but it'll be fun. Wish I could dock it. Maybe I can, and I just don't know any better. I'm going to shoot this one and this one at the same time on the X-axis as well. Gives you two Nice tidy shapes there. And we'll shoot this edge loop, or this, go to edge ring, and then I'm holding, to get to these, I'm holding control and right clicking and going to edge ring, and then still holding down control and going to faces. And I think I'm going to do a, let's see, I think I'm just gonna do these end to end myself. I'm not gonna remap those. So selecting an edge over here, you can hold down shift and right click and go to move and sew edges. And you want to stop when it wants to reconnect to itself down there. So I'll just go ahead and stop there. I think for this though, I am going to, I'm not so sure it needs to be curved like this. So what I'm going to do is try my best to, let me go ahead and close that real quick, to lay these out from the leftmost UV to the rightmost UV, and I'm going to lay them out in a very straight line. I've actually got a tool that'll help me do this, but I think at this point what we should start doing is we need a reference texture for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new Lambert material, and I'm going to call it reference grid, and I need to dig up a reference texture. I'll just sort of move this guy around. He doesn't need to be in every single folder, but this is a grid. If you're not familiar with this, use a grid like this to allow yourself to see your proportions. So if you get something that doesn't look like a square, you know it's too tall, or it's too wide, or maybe too thin or too short. So we want to go ahead and locate this in Maya. I'm gonna get to this as quick as I can. I'll switch to my textured view, and you can see we've got some guys there, different scales. Some of them, all of them look pretty good because it's automatic mapping. We just want to make sure that if possible we can start to figure out how to join some of these. Over here in this view, I like to turn this texture off. It's a little distracting, it's so bright. What I will go ahead and do periodically is take these guys and lay them out so that they're all proportional to one another, and they're not like huge because I lay them out at different times in a 0 to 1 space. So these are I think these are the default ones I do. Default, I think this is right. No, it's not. I do per object, or not. Let's see. There we go. So I needed to do uniform and pre-scale object. And so now you should be able to look over here and see that the grid, the size of these guys are pretty uniform. I'm going to go ahead and select them all and make them a lot bigger. And now you can really see the difference. You start to get an idea of what angle some of these UV shells, each of these is called a UV shell. Something to note in Unity is that you're going to, every time, I'm going to shift and right click and toggle these borders. Every time you have one of these borders here, if this connects to another edge, in Unity, because this is a separate shell, this edge and these verts, more importantly, will count twice. So these two verts, even though they may be shared with two different, somewhere I've got, let me turn this texture border off. So here's one edge and here's the other one. This is actually going to count as 4 verts in Unity. So that's something to keep in mind. It's also one of the first things you'll see when you get started in Unity is that your vert counts will blow up when they get into Unity from Maya or whatever 3D program, because 2 things will increase your vert count like that, or at least 2 things. 2 most basic things are these shells, and even more basic than that are hard edges. These hard edges are going to basically, a hard edge is a place where light needs to hit this face, two faces that share the same edge. Light needs to hit this face from this angle, and light needs to hit this face from this angle that I'm gesturing at. And you can actually see this in Maya if you select edges or an edge, and then you shift and right click, go down to polygon display, and you can, you know what, I need to be in vert mode. Shift right click on invert, toggle vertex normals, and you can see that there's two sets here. There's two of them on each one of these hard angles. There's two sets, so that it can understand that there is a very clear demarcation of your how light hits it. And here you can see on a sharp edge, on a soft edge, that you only have one vertex normal. And so that's a really good way to go ahead and check yourself to see if you need to see how your vert count is going to be affected, because you really can't trust this. You can just go ahead and expect this to double. I usually do, just to be safe. So anyway, I'm going to stop the video. A lot of this stuff is going to be pretty repetitive. I'll come back and I'll have this done. And if you guys, in the next video, if you have any questions as to how I did any of these parts, it's going to be pretty simple. But if you do have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.